Alright, we're going to get right into it. This is going to be game 3, and this is the semifinals right here, or one of them, I should say, from the winner's bracket. Spawning down in the bottom left, we do have xHassassin, who has now picked Terran, or I should say random Terran, so he has random every race right here. Spawning down in the bottom left, like I said, he is purple. And spawning up in the top right, we do have pink spinnercat, our Protoss player. So it is 1-1 right now in this best of 3. The last game, winner takes all right here, or at least advances to the finals, I should say. And I'm excited. I don't know about you guys, but that was a very interesting game last time. I thought spinnercat was going to 2-0 for sure. I was like, look at all these immortals right here. He can take an expansion. He could just push with this army if you want. He could split it up. I mean, he had so many options. And then he finally makes the push, and then xHassassin, with some great micro, able to pool the probes, able to micro back his immortals, is able to get spinnercat focusing on his base, focusing on warping in and doing other things like this. And it just kind of left him in a bad position as spinnercat wasn't able to as spinnercat wasn't able to micro it correctly, and xHassassin just kind of out microed him back in his main base right there and killed off enough of his units, killed off enough of his immortals that it put it kind of in even grounds in terms of immortals. And then of course there were all the blink stalkers back in spinnercat's base, and once he kind of brought that back and joined the army up, it was just over. So spinnercat really didn't have anything left. And I love how how last game spinnercat does not go for a wall in, and he talks, and xHassassin says, "Oh, big ballsy man," and then this game he decides to go for the wall in. So it looks like spinnercat was a little bit scared right there, and will be throwing up the wall. But it is not a Zerg, it is a Terran, so the wall is really not too necessary, of course, unless there is some sort of 2-Rax SCV all in and you don't have a sentry out, which isn't going to happen because there's a gas right now for xHassassin, and a gas steal actually goes down by spinnercat, so interesting right there. Who does that? Some players do, because a lot of players come in and go for the Banshees, and if spinnercat doesn't want to see Banshees, you know what? He's going to throw down that assimilator right there. So I actually like when that stuff happens. I really love when people don't just go my build versus your build, let's chill, and then let's fight against each other in the middle and see who built the best. You know, it's a lot more fun when players kind of mess around, do stuff like this. When you see like ZVP and its Forge Fast Expand, and the Zerg opens up with a 7 pool, kills off the Forge and the Pylon, forces the Protoss back into one base with the cannon in his main, then he has to open up with gateways and then start expanding that way, and just changes the whole dynamic of the game, the whole build. And it really is cool because it makes a lot more of a reactionary thing as opposed to simply going for just, you know, alright, let's just do our basic build orders that we always know. So it's always fun to see, but not always the most fun to play against, of course, when you plan for Banshees and all of a sudden you get this out and it's like, oh crap, well now I have to deal with this assimilator and I can't go Banshees, which actually you can go Banshees if you technically want to, but you know, it would be kind of a strange Banshee. So we're going to see now Marines pumping out, and we have a 3-Rax out here, and I love the bunker right here, the little bit of a fake out. So he's saying, oh yeah, no, if you scout up with that Zealot, you're going to see, or that Stalker, you're going to see that I have this bunker, which means, quote unquote, I went for a 1-Rax expand. As you saw with that, I did have that Rax. Unfortunately, he did have the gas, and that was scouted. So it would be a little bit of a stranger 1-Rax expand, but at least there was an expand. Maybe it was like some sort of 2-Rax expand or something with a reactor, but there was actually no expand at all, and this is what he's hoping for. He's hoping his opponent would go for a 1-gate or 2-gate expand himself, and it looks like there's going to be a 2-gate expand out of spinnercat, and now we're going to see a Marine die for free right here. Almost, just barely stays alive. I'd like to see him change it out with a fresh Marine in there. And it's 4, so it's actually going to turn into a 4-Rax, which I don't even think you technically need. I feel like 3-Rax is plenty enough, and he's going to go for a 4-Rax plus 1 push. So this is pretty much as all in as you can get. This is very, very heavy hitting. He's sacrificing economy, sacrificing pretty much everything to go for this attack. So if this can be held off by our friend spinnercat, he will be advanced to the finals, but if not, we will see xHassassin making his way over. So yet another tech lab and reactor being added on, and it looks like it's going to be a very strong Marine Marauder push. And I am expecting, are we going to see combat shields out of this, or are we going to be seeing concussive shields? So I would imagine, let's see, yeah. So combat shield is going to time up perfectly with this. As you can see, it's 110 seconds, so not perfectly, just kidding. It's going to finish up about 10 seconds after, but that's perfectly quote-unquote enough in my books right there. So he will be able to make a very strong push right there, and we're going to see spinnercat try and do some aggression. He does have 2-gate robo, and no more production facilities have been added on. I'd like to see a 3rd gate be added a little bit earlier right there, so I'm not quite sure about that. And he's not moving out with this observer yet, which is a huge blunder. That's going to be key for him if he can move out and see what's going on. Instead, he's going to be backing off this watchtower, and I am really, really scared for spinnercat. As a Protoss, until the 10-minute mark, if your opponent does expand like that, or you think they expand like that, until 10 minutes, they are not going to be having medevacs, so you can pretty much chill and gain control of these watchtowers the entire time. And then around 9:30, 10 minutes is when you start backing up to your base, because then you have to deal with drops and all the annoying stuff, the annoying pushes that come at 10 minutes. But xHassassin just going to be able to freely move across. Look at how many units he has right here with stim and combat shields, going to be finishing up just right now, and SCVs being pulled as well. So this is all in, all in, all in. He's going to have a few SCVs back home to continue mining, but I am having trouble seeing exactly how we're going to have spinnercat defend this. He needs to just back up with his sentries here, get into one base, and just constantly force field this bottom until he can get Colossus out or something like that. That's basically going to be his key to victory right here. And we're going to see now the SCVs and Marauders and Marines starting to push up into the base right here. So he should be seeing this right now. He has already retreated back. Is he going to get the force field down? He misses the force field right there, so that's going to be troublesome for him. He's already backed his sentries up, and it looks like all these units can just stream right up into the main if he wants. That's exactly what he should do. A second force field goes down, but this first one will expire now, and the sentries have gone down. So it looks like that's probably going to be it for our friend spinnercat, as all these units now move up into the main, focus down all of the units, and it is going to be over here, my friends, as spinnercat is just dropping like flies. So he almost had a chance right there to just continually force field, but he missed the first one and was unable to really get a second one down. His unit streamed up, and he's pulling the probes right. They're going to start focusing down all the Marines and Marauders, but of course stim Marines and Marauders with +1 and combat shields, and that's going to be it. spinnercat GG's out with a lame. I'm pretty sure he meant to type GG, but sometimes that's a common mistype right there that you see. That, or, you know, screw you or something. That, you know, it's always a mistype of GG. So that's going to be it. And xHassassin comes back from being down 0-1. He apologizes and moves on into the finals. So a surprise right there for me, I want to say. I thought spinnercat was going to be in a great position after that first game, but xHassassin really picked it up, and it showed me that his Zerg and, or Protoss and Terran, I should say, are quite up to par, as he was able to take spinnercat out and win 2